Okay, we had one sheet that we had made with our floor plans, and I'm going to show you how to make a sheet to put our 4 elevations on. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to one of my elevations. And the first thing we notice on this elevation is that these lines are really long compared to how big our little elevation is here in the middle. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to adjust the scale of this from 1/8 equals 1 to 1/4, which is basically doubling the size of this. Now I want to also turn on my box, my crop region box, and if I scroll out you'll see that this crop region is very big compared to this little building in the middle. So what I want to first do is take these 2 lines and shrink them in. If I click here on the edge, right there, if I click right here you'll notice it gets this little dashed line there, and if I scroll in you can see that there's a little bubble there. If I grab it right at this bubble, you'll see that it's moving in. I want to move it in about that much. I'm going to click off of it so you can see. Notice that these do not overlap the building. Just as we had in IED, my words should never touch the picture. These should never overlap. Now I also want to come to the other side and do the same thing and pull this side in over here. So I'm going to click again and again go all the way out to the end and make sure that you're moving both of them at the same time. I do want this to extend a little bit past my building, but not much. Okay, now I want to fix my crop region. I click on it, and remember if you just grab it here you're moving the whole region, but if you grab the blue dots you're moving the crop region in. So again I want to pull it in pretty close without cutting those off. And then turn my crop region off. I'm going to go ahead and make my sheet. Remember to make a new sheet, you go to Sheets and right click, New Sheet. I do want it to be 11 by 17, click OK. And now I'm going to click on it, and you'll notice that it put this part, got filled in just like our other one. This is going to be our elevation view, so I'm going to click right here on this part. I need to be in all caps, elevation views. It gave it the next number in the series. We're going to leave it like that. And if I scroll in right here, you'll notice that it filled in everything except the author and the checked. Remember the author should be like the last one, your last name, comma, first initial, and then the checker should be me. And the issue date will be the day that we turn this in and we finally finish them. We'll go ahead and put the dates in there. So we're going to put our elevations on here, and we're actually going to put all 4. We have all 4 of these elevations, we're going to put them on there. The only one we fixed so far is the east, so I'm going to take it and I'm going to drag it over, and you'll notice it's saying right about there looks good. Now the one thing is this little line is a little bit far away from there, so I'm going to take it and move it up a little bit so it's a little bit closer. That looks good. Now I'm going to go ahead and fix the other 3 views up the same way. Notice they all have the same problem, so I'm going to go through and fix those up. You should fix all 3 of your other ones. Okay, so you should have paused and gone in and made all the same adjustments to your other 3 elevations. Now I'm going to go ahead and put them on my elevation sheet, so go back there. Okay, so we took and I put all 4 elevations on here. One thing you'll notice is this one's realistic and those are both shaded and that one's a wireframe. I'm going to fix them all to match in a minute because I'm going to tell you what I want them to look like. I'm going to point out some problems here. One of the problems is that this is touching the edge. There should be no touching. This is touching right here and right here. This line should be in line with that. They should be collinear right there, and they're not. These I have lined up, however, this one is not vertically lined up with the one above it. And this is almost touching the line on this side, and there's a giant space on this side. All of that needs to be evened up and looking better. So I'm going to pause it and fix mine. Make sure that yours has all those little steps done. Okay, I've managed to get mine where they're all about the same distance from the house. None of them are touching the house. Now the only problem is that I don't have stuff lined up horizontally. The first thing that's really out of place is this one is way up compared to this one here. In fact, this one's even touching the view below it. So I'm going to click on it so it's blue and then move it up so that it's in line. You'll notice when I get it in line with the one above it, it pops up this little dashed line. When I line up the circles with the one below it, It pops up the little lash line there, so I'm going to do that. Now I need it to not be sticking way over the line. In order to get this end to move, I have to click on the square and I get the little blue dot. Now I can bring this in, and notice when I get lined up with the one below it, it gives me the little dashed line again. I'm going to do the same thing here. And okay, now I have all my little titles lining up nicely. The only thing that I would still be unhappy with when I was grading this is the fact that this side is almost touching the border and this side has this big white space over here. So I'm going to center things up a little bit better so that they look slightly better here, and then I'm going to get back with you. Do the same thing with yours. Okay, now I'm pretty happy with this. You'll notice that I now also have about even amounts of white space on both sides. All these horizontal lines, the floors line up, the roofs line up, these little titles line up on all of them. I even centered this one up so it's kind of in line with the center of the one above it, and the same thing over here. It makes it look much neater. Now, depending on what you're going to do with this, we'd want to make all four of these views look the same, but I'm just going to stop the video here because we're going to have two different things that we're going to print this off, and I'll make separate videos for those.